Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Tornadoes ripped across the state this week, devastating parts of a community that were hit not too long ago.
We heard the noise and the ground started shaking, and no sooner than it come through, it was gone.
After collectively serving more than 4 decades in prison for a crime they didn't commit, 2 men are enjoying life on the outside.
You worked all your life, you obey the laws of the land, and this could happen to you.
The Wrongful Conviction Center at IUPUI eventually found the evidence that would clear the men, but coming up, we'll explain why their fight to clear their names isn't over. And the state will not appeal a court's decision to overturn the conviction of an Indiana woman charged with feticide for ending her own pregnancy. Coming up, a legal expert joins us to talk about Indiana's sentencing guidelines. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. The city of Kokomo is in a devastatingly familiar position after a tornado ripped through the city this week. It's the second time the town's been hit in less than 3 years. Indiana's Department of Homeland Security says the storm produced at least a dozen tornadoes across the state. The National Weather Service says wind speeds peaked at more than 150 miles per hour. Barbara Brosier joins us with more. And Barbara, you were just south of Kokomo when some of those storms passed through the area.
That's right, Joe. Just about 11 miles south of Kokomo when I pulled over and shot this video. There were very strong winds and several fast-moving clouds ahead of us. Now, by the time we got into town, the sound of sirens was constant and emergency vehicles were everywhere. First responders rushed to help residents. Miraculously, there were only minor injuries.
That's a tornado.
The National Weather Service says a tornado that ripped through Kokomo Wednesday night reached speeds of 165 miles per hour. It was one of several that touched down in Howard County.
I was actually on the west end of town when it came into the county, and I caught myself behind it and recorded this video as it touched down in Kokomo.
Within a matter of minutes, businesses were destroyed and neighborhoods devastated.
Oh my God, Starbucks just got blown over. There's people in there.
I mean, as soon as we started to pray and we heard the noise and the ground started shaking, it sounded like a freight train coming through, and no sooner than it come through, it was gone.
Houses tore up, roofs off, cars flipped, trees everywhere.
The American Red Cross quickly set up a shelter for those displaced by the storm. More than 200 people came through the doors within the first 24 hours.
There was over 100 homes classified destroyed. Some of them, this is the second time, 2013. Some of the same areas were impacted.
The 2013 storm left thousands without power and damaged several buildings, but there were no deaths.
We've experienced this before about 2 years ago in the middle of town, and we know what kind of destruction can really happen with these kind of storms.
Now a community that's rebuilt before is faced with the same challenges. Governor Mike Pence and Senator Joe Donnelly toured some of the neighborhoods hit hardest this week. The Red Cross says its shelter will remain open for as long as it's needed, and that could be a while.
You always see other people going through it. I've never been through it before. Now that it's hitting home, I understand how it could affect families.
Indiana's Department of Homeland Security says the 12 tornadoes that touched down hit Adams, Allen, Blackford, Cass, Grant, Howard, Marion, and Montgomery counties. Those wanting to assist with recovery efforts can contact the Red Cross. They say volunteering or providing financial support helps most.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. A couple of high-profile legal cases have thrust Indiana's criminal justice system into the spotlight. This week, we learned the state will not appeal the Indiana Court of Appeals decision to overturn the conviction of Purvi Patel. Now, she's the only Indiana woman charged with feticide for ending her own pregnancy. A judge will resentence Patel on the only remaining conviction, a Class D felony for neglect of a dependent. Now, that carries a maximum of 3 years in prison, but with credit for time served in good behavior, Patel will be released no later than the end of September. So joining us now is a professor of criminal law at Indiana University's Maurer School of Law, Ryan Scott. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You know, we've all heard that term good behavior before, but is this a standard procedure in a case like Patel's?
Yes, it's standard for all prisoners in Indiana prisons, and really all states have a system something like this. It's an incentive for prisoners to avoid disciplinary infractions and otherwise comport themselves well while in prison. One difference is that for many years, Indiana's discount for good behavior was a lot larger than most states. It was 50% for most felonies. So for every day served in prison, you'd receive credit for another day in prison. And that remains the rule for low-level felonies, like the only remaining felony, as you say, for which Ms. Patel was convicted. So for the lowest level of felons in Indiana, it's still essentially a 50% discount for good time in prison.
So when judges, though, give a sentence, do they take all that into consideration?
So they're certainly aware of the system of good time credits, that's right, and they're free to do so, although nothing in Indiana law either requires judges to adjust sentences based on good time or prohibits them from doing so. So I suspect that different judges have different intuitions about how the existence of a good time system like that ought to affect the sentence or not.
But you know, this really seems like different on how the public would understand a sentence. Is that a concern?
It is, and actually one of the impetuses behind the change to Indiana law a couple years ago, the 50% discount has been changed. Now it's a 75% of the sentence will be served for most felonies, including murder. And part of the rationale is this goes by under the banner truth in sentencing. It's a line of argument that's been around for decades. It's part of the reason that many states, including Indiana, have abolished traditional parole, where a person could be sentenced to 40 years in prison, and then after 6 years, a parole board concludes that they've been rehabilitated and they're released. The idea is that there's something deceptive about a judge formally announcing a sentence of 40 years, and the actual sentence served will be something much less than that. And so this change to make the discount lower, and Indiana's is still a greater discount than a lot of states have. In the federal system, it's a 10% discount for good behavior.
I wanted to bring up really quick before we go, the other high-profile sentencing case was Daniel Messel, who was convicted of killing IU student Hannah Wilson. How would good behavior impact his sentence, do you think?
Well, again, he'll be entitled to a discount of up to 25% for good behavior, but in his case, the sentence carries a minimum of 45 years of imprisonment, plus another 20 years for being a habitual offender. Even after that's discounted, he's looking at 50 years unsuspendable actual served time. For a defendant like him who's already 51 years old, that's effectively a life sentence, even if the judge chooses the most lenient sentence possible, which is unlikely given the horrible, brutal circumstances of that offense in any event.
Yeah. Very interesting. Thanks so much for your insight and for being here today. Appreciate it. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk, we'll meet a man who spent nearly 17 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. We'll find out how new science helped him overturn his conviction. And Barbara Brosier joins us again for the latest news headlines from across the state. All of that and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks. We learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
10,000.
15? 15, you think?
20, 21,000?
600.
20. 18.5.
24.
It's at least 40.
Look at it.
4,500,000.
650.
20.
650.
This textile would be worth about $500,000.
$500,000?
No way.
I knew it. It's just a blanket.
Laying on the back of a chair. Well, sir, you have a national treasure.
Wow.
A national treasure. Congratulations.
I can't believe this.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Two men in Gary who collectively served more than 40 years in jail for a crime they didn't commit are free. The Wrongful Conviction Clinic at IUPUI is being credited for helping clear the two men. WTIU's Sophia Salabi has their story.
The system is broke. The system is really messed up when they could take a man, not just one, but take two men and convict them, Glenn and Pinkins, of raping a woman they never even met. You know, that's scary. That's really scary.
Roosevelt Glenn and his coworker Daryl Pinkins were arrested in 1989 for the rape and robbery of a woman in northwest Indiana. The two have always maintained their innocence. Glenn's first trial ended in a hung jury, and in his second trial, Glenn was convicted of one count of rape and sentenced to 36 years.
It was devastating to lose that case. I've tried hundreds of cases in my career as a prosecutor. That was one of the most difficult cases to lose.
Pinkins was also found guilty of one count each of rape, deviant conduct, and robbery and sentenced to 65 years. The Wrongful Conviction Clinic at IUPUI takes cases like Pinkins and Glenn's with the hope to exonerate people who are found guilty of crimes they didn't commit.
You know, wrongful conviction work is post-conviction work. You're going to court after conviction and sentencing and direct appeal and trying to convince a judge or a prosecutor that the conviction should be vacated based on new science.
Glenn had been in jail for nearly a decade when he met Watson for the first time.
Now, she said, "You don't have to convince me of your innocence. I wouldn't be here if I thought you were guilty." And so much relief came. Somebody other than my family saw my innocence. And I didn't say nothing to her.
For 10 years, Glenn worked with the Wrongful Conviction Clinic to file appeals, but each was denied. And these losses didn't just hurt Glenn, it was a burden on his whole family.
That's one of the huge downsides to wrongful convictions. It's not just that you have one innocent person in prison, you have their whole family. Everyone that loves them is living with that reality.
In 2009, Glenn was released after serving his full sentence, and even though he was no longer in jail, the Wrongful Conviction Clinic still continued working on his case.
One of the things I say to students is I lost this case, depending on what you count, 6 to 8 times before I won it. And so think how many times I traveled to the prison, often with students, and sat there and said to these men, no, the court rejected that. No, the next court rejected that. No, the next court did.
His conviction also prevented him from finding steady employment, and it was by chance he ran into his former attorney, now mayor of Gary, Karen Freeman Wilson. The two talked, and Wilson helped Glenn get a job working for the City of Gary Public Works Department.
I was always convinced that he was innocent, and I always told him, or his family at least, that anything I could do to help him once he got out, I would.
Watson and her team finally found the breakthrough they needed 2 years ago. They accurately identified the genetic makeup of the DNA samples used in the trial. This DNA did not belong to Glenn or Pinkins. The evidence confirmed what the two men had maintained for more than 25 years. They were not guilty.
This is like the best time of this whole situation because I knew it. I never gave up hope. Never give up hope, no matter what you're going through. Hold on to your hope.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sophia Salabi.
Pinkins' record is clear, but Glenn is still in limbo. The state has moved to vacate Glenn's case. Watson is still waiting to receive the official court order that will remove the conviction from his record. Now, joining us now is Sophia Salabi. What's the difference between these two men's cases?
So Pinkins received a longer sentence and was actually still in jail when they got this new evidence, so he was able to leave jail as a free man. For Glenn, unfortunately, he was released in jail in 2009 after serving his full sentence, but he left as a convicted sex offender, and they're still waiting to receive that official court order to get that off his record.
And any sense on how long he'll be waiting?
We really don't know, actually. It could be weeks, it could be months. We're just waiting on a judge.
And what are Glenn and Pinkins doing now?
Glenn is still working at the City of Gary Public Works Department, and he really just plans to retire and relax after all of this. Pinkins just got out of jail. He's trying to adjust to life outside prison. He's searching for a job, working with the local Veterans Association, spending time with his family.
And did they ever, I mean, the big question, right? Did they ever find the men who committed the crime?
No, actually. All we know is that 3 of the men who committed the crime were brothers or first cousins, and then there were 2 other men involved. So for now, it's unsolved.
All right, thank you very much, Sophia.
Thank you.
And now, for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. State utility regulators have approved a deal allowing Duke Energy to increase electricity rates by 2% to help pay for its $3.5 billion coal gasification plant in southwestern Indiana. The agreement approved Wednesday includes Duke picking up $87.5 million of operating costs deferred since the plant went into service in 2013 near Edwardsport. The decision ends more than 5 years of disputes over how to pay for the plant, where cost overruns nearly doubled its price tag. Duke Energy says that without the settlement agreement reached in January, the rate increase would have been about 3.6%. Well, the debate over LGBT civil rights will return to the State House next week. A legislative panel will hear testimony on the issue Tuesday after bills that would have provided some protections for the LGBT community failed earlier this year. The discussion isn't a new one, and some are questioning whether it will yield any results.
I'm hopeful that we'll offer education and information. I don't know that the panel will offer change. I don't know what the summer committee will recommend.
I guess my biggest question is there going to be some movement from the 2 sides to move towards the middle for some compromise, because we weren't able to get anything done this past session because the walls just would not move.
Holdman is vice chair of the panel and says he's hopeful the discussion will clear the path for action. Indianapolis-based health group St. Vincent Health is planning to add 8 new emergency hospitals and 3 new outpatient care centers. The so-called micro-hospitals would be open 24/7 with a full staff and a limited number of inpatient beds. All are planned in central Indiana, and 3 outpatient care centers are planned in Plainfield, Brownsburg, and Crawfordsville. The outpatient care centers and one of the hospitals are expected to open next year. The other hospitals will open mid to late 2017. 2 Indiana lawmakers and an e-cigarette liquid producer say they have been questioned by the FBI about the creation of the state's vaping law. The law has given 7 producers control of the Indiana market, shutting out dozens of other manufacturers. It also requires that one security firm certify the producers.
I'm not surprised that they're asking these questions. It would have been nice for these questions to maybe be asked in 2015, before hundreds of businesses had to lay off employees, close their doors, or, move to another state.
A state legislator says FBI agents interviewed him last month and asked if someone benefited financially from the legislation. An FBI spokesperson would not confirm there is an investigation. Authorities say they've seized more than 4 pounds of a powerful painkiller blamed for a spike in heroin drug overdoses. The heroin was laced with fentanyl, which is 50 times more powerful than straight heroin. 13 people overdosed in Jennings County and 1 more died. 4 others overdosed in Jackson County. Dozens more overdosed in the Cincinnati area. A law firm is seeking reparations on behalf of landowners in southern Indiana. As J.D. Gray reports, the case Schulenberg versus United States is holding the door open for those in southern Indiana between Crane and Bedford to seek payment for land taken as part of the National Rails to Trails project.
Cyclists seem to love the Rails to Trails path that connects Indian Creek to Bedford.
There's a lot of areas where they had to cut through limestone hillsides, so you got these beautiful cliffs on both sides of the trail. It's really gorgeous and it's an easy ride.
But attorney Lindsey Brinton says many people may be entitled to money for the trail as it crosses through what was once their property. The government took private property to build the trail in 2010.
All landowners have a right to make a constitutional claim if the federal government takes your property. And so we just want to alert and inform landowners of their right.
According to Brinton, the federal government is not obligated to inform landowners of the land they are taking, so many potential plaintiffs may not be aware their land was taken. Brinton says 10 have joined Schulenberg versus United States. A previous case about the same issue included over 100 claims. Those hoping to join the most recent lawsuit will have until September 15th. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm J.D. Gray.
The Department of Justice declined to comment, citing pending litigation. They added that the creation of the trails under the Trail Act is very public, and the filing of the railroad and other parties is published on the Surface Transportation Board's website. The U.S. Department of Education is banning the for-profit college chain ITT Educational Services from enrolling new students who use federal financial aid. Now, the move is meant to increase financial oversight of the company, which has been the subject of state and federal investigations, focusing on its recruiting and accounting practices. ITT also is being ordered to pay the department $152 million within 30 days to cover liabilities in case it closes, and the company is barred from giving pay raises or bonuses to its executives. The Indiana Manufacturers Association's president says companies made their biggest concerns clear in an annual survey. They say they can't find enough skilled production workers and feel overwhelmed with government regulations. The association plans to lobby during the next legislative session to pass a bill that would keep state environmental rules from being stricter than the federal government's. Governor Mike Pence vetoed a similar bill in March. The IMA will oppose a bill to require businesses file combined tax returns with their out-of-state affiliates. Manufacturers also want the state to lower its business personal property tax rate. Well, a family that hoped to open a snow tubing park in Morgan County plans to take its business proposal elsewhere. They plan to build the recreational facility off State Road 67 in Martinsville, but the Morgan County Zoning Board unanimously rejected the proposal this week.
Dale Martin and her family moved to Martinsville from Texas to pursue their dream of opening a snow tubing business.
My husband gave up his law practice to actually come here to follow my dream.
They wanted property along State Road 67 rezoned for the recreational facility, which would include hills for tubing and a large slip and slide.
It's a passion that we've wanted to do this. We've always wanted to open up a business like this for a family to enjoy.
But only one person spoke in favor of the proposal during a hearing before the Morgan County Zoning Board.
There is a shortage of small businesses in Morgan County and support for small businesses. This isn't a corporation, this is a family that wants to start a business here.
The majority of people who spoke during the hearing expressed concerns about how the tubing park could impact the surrounding properties.
People run 60, 70 miles an hour. They're going to pass this place up and they're going to turn around on our road. And when they do that, they're going to be backing in, pulling into our driveways, which puts our kids and our pets at risk.
The staff at the nearby Link Observatory also spoke against the proposal, saying light pollution from the facility could make the Space Education Center obsolete.
Don't compromise the beauty of the night sky and destroy the educational opportunities of future generations.
Since the board rejected the proposal, the Martin family says it will take the idea to Brown County. They hope to purchase the former Ski World property on State Road 46.
And the Martin family has no timeline for opening the tubing park. Indiana's gubernatorial candidates will face off in a debate September 27th. Democrat John Gregg, Republican Eric Holcomb, and Libertarian Rex Bell will be speaking on education issues. The debate will be during school hours as a town hall style event involving high school students, teachers, and administrators at Lawrence North High School. It will be webcast live to schools around the state and be made available later for television broadcasting. 2 televised evening debates among the gubernatorial candidates are being planned for October. And final numbers show this year's Indiana State Fair had nearly 20% fewer attendees than last year's event. Fair officials cited heat indexes of higher than 87 degrees and 9 days of rain for the drop. The last day of the fair had good weather and actually set a new final Sunday attendance record with about 83,000 people in attendance.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. And you know, it may not feel like it when you step outside, but football season is here. Big Ten play begins Thursday and teams are gearing up for the season. IU begins their season on Thursday against the FIU Golden Panthers. They have big expectations after qualifying for a bowl game last year. It was their first bowl since 2007. Purdue begins their season on Saturday. Who keeps the Oaken bucket won't be decided until IU and Purdue play after Thanksgiving. And then Notre Dame begins play on Sunday against Texas. So if your team sweater is boxed up with their winter clothes, it's time to pull them out and start cheering. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.